welcome to thevirtualmidwife.com. I want to share with you the number one reason why breathing is so important in labor. I know it seems strange that you need to learn specific breathing techniques when breathing is essentially something that we do without thinking every single day. But have you ever noticed how your breathing changes in response to events or news or even your environment? We're intimately connected to our breath, and yet we don't really take much notice of it. Over the next few days, I want you to become aware of how your breathing changes when you hear good news, when you become angry, when you become frustrated. And probably the most noticeable change is when you're afraid or panicking, and your breathing becomes really shallow and fast. There's no other time where you'll experience such intense physical and emotional changes as when you're in labor and giving birth. So you definitely want to be aware of your breath and have some really well-practiced techniques that you can turn to when you feel like you're losing control, or when you feel like your breathing is becoming shallow, rapid, and ineffective. But before I share any of those techniques, I want to explain why breathing is so important and why it works. Your uterus is made up of 3 muscle layers, and the purpose of those 3 muscle layers is to effectively work together to open up the cervix to allow your baby to be born. Your placenta is embedded in the muscles of the uterus, and your placenta is your baby's lifeline. Every time your uterus contracts, the blood flow to your baby is slightly inhibited. So effective breathing is essential to make sure that the blood flow that is getting to your baby is highly oxygenated so that you're supporting your baby through every contraction. Any muscle that is starved of oxygen becomes tired, and you get a buildup of waste products. This affects the harmony and the rhythm and the ability of those muscles to work effectively. And what happens is those muscles go into spasm, and that's when you experience true pain. What happens then is that you move into a negative cycle of fear, tension, and pain. The more pain you experience, the more tense you become. The more tense you become, the more afraid you become. However, if you're breathing effectively, it's impossible to be tense. Try it now. Tense up all your muscles and try and take a really deep breath, and it's absolutely impossible. Deep breathing and effective breathing is also a really good form of distraction. So in other words, if you're using effective breathing techniques during every contraction, you're supporting your baby, you're allowing the muscles to work in harmony and create rhythm, you're ensuring that the muscles stay well oxygenated, that there's no buildup of waste products, your muscles don't become fatigued, and this allows you to move into a more positive cycle of focus, flow, and release. It means that your labor is smoother, very often faster, and so much more effective. So that's why breathing is so important in labor, and why it's essential that you learn and practice those breathing techniques during your pregnancy. I've created an app to help you practice the various breathing techniques in different situations and with expanded awareness. The app includes video demonstrations and explanations, and also a timer so that you can set practice times throughout the day. If you download the app from my website, thevirtualmidwife.com, you'll also get a 5-lesson mini course to get you started and give you deeper insight into why effective breathing is so important and so helpful during labor.
Those guys,